So now that I have your attention with that introductory face, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. Today is still Wednesday, July 8th. This is episode 14. And in this episode, I am going to be presenting yet another one of my top influencers. My influencer of note today, besides the one I've already just done, is a wonderful, very talented actress whose work I have admired for many, many years since I was just becoming an adult myself. And rather than say her name right from the beginning, I'm going to give you a little chance to guess who it is before I say it. So before I do that, my name is Bernd Christian Giels, and this is my YouTube channel you have reached. It is the summer of 2020, a very, very, very memorable time here in the United States of America, as well as throughout the world, as we face multiple crises reinforcing one another and look around the world and do not see exactly a lot of great leadership to respond to what is happening right now. So, the actress that I am going to be acknowledging as a top influencer today has been in many, many movies, some of which of note are Titanic, this will give it away, Misery, Fried Green Tomatoes, and Dolores Claiborne. Now, you probably are going to have a pretty good idea if you've seen at least a few of those movies, because a couple of those movies don't have that many major characters in them, and Misery is one of them. I am, of course, speaking about none other than the wondrous and very talented Kathy Bates, whose work I have admired for decades. She is, in my opinion, one of the most talented and versatile actresses that America has enjoyed seeing on screen for the last many decades. And what really inspires me about Miss Bates that has led me to place her on my top influencer list is that versatility, that capacity to embody such a wide range of characters, and an ability to correspondingly use very different vocabularies, very different costumes, very different attitudes, very different perspectives in creating these very distinctive and memorable and different characters. Now, some of this might be a spoiler alert for some of you who somehow might not have seen these movies yet. So I will allude to the plot devices, the plots of some of these movies, but I will not give away too much of it in case for some reason you haven't seen it, even though you could easily Google it and find out the plot that way. So I would have to say that my favorite movie that Ms. Bates has been in as a protagonist, as a major character, actually she was the antagonist in this movie, was Misery. And what was astounding about her portrayal in Misery was how completely convincing she was in playing a woman who had a serious, serious mental health problem. It was obvious, and here come the planes, one second. Sorry, Kathy, if you are watching this, if you've done me the honor of actually watching my video, that was one of the planes flying by here close to Hyannis, Massachusetts, where I currently live. So, as I was saying, she was tremendous in this role in Misery because she was very convincing as a woman who was the #1 fan of the hero of the movie, who was played by James Caan. So in this movie, Kathy Bates plays a former nurse who just happens to conveniently discover the author of her favorite series of books stranded out in the snow after he has had a major automobile accident, and nobody has conveniently enough come by to rescue him. So she finds him buried in his car in the snow. Basically, I think the car turns upside down according to the movie version of Misery. and she takes him home and nurses him back to health. But she is the classic dark feminine force, the classic dark widow, if you will. She nurtures him back to health. And then basically the second that Khan's character is capable of leaving on his own 2 feet, what does she do? She literally takes his feet, not completely off, but hobbles him. And I will say no more other than to say this. My favorite line in that movie actually is the moment that she tells Khan's character that she knows he's been out of his room because of a penguin. And I will share no more, lest some of you out there watching this have never seen the movie adaptation of this. You have got to go watch it right now after you watch this if you haven't seen it, my opinion. So, that was one of the best movies I think I've ever seen in which she played an amazing character and was so convincing in her role. Another movie she was in that I thought was amazing was the character she played in Dolores Claiborne. Again, a very, very well acted role. She played a woman who, in her middle and later years, took care of her benefactor who had employed her many years before. And her character had basically suffered through a very abusive marriage, and her own daughter, her one and only child, had long ago, years ago, before the time setting of the movie, had left the state of Maine, where this is set, and gone away to become a journalist. And so the movie is told in a series of present-day scenarios, as well as casts the viewer back into the past to give you a context for this woman's character development. And like her character in Misery, Kathy Bates does an amazing job of bringing this character to life. She makes it very believable, and at least for me, I was left feeling with deep empathy for her character as the movie came to its dramatic finale, which I will not disclose, obviously. So, those 2 movies, Misery and Dolores Claiborne, were 2 of my favorite movies that she's ever been in. But she has been in many, many, many movies. If you Google her name and go to her movie history, you will see that she has had quite the career as a very talented actress. Now, another level to why I have great respect for her work and have followed her career and seen a lot of the movies she's been in is because on a deeper level, when someone is an amazing actor or actress, it says to me that they must have some really great imagination. You have to have imagination to be able to place yourself into a character and imagine the life of that character and then bring the character to life in the screen. And with the great variety of things that Kathy Bates has been in, you can see that she really has an amazing ability to do just that, to personify, to bring to life characters of vastly different backgrounds, of vastly different circumstances, facing a variety of challenges that in some movies her character maybe didn't necessarily anticipate. And from what I recall, she's usually played friendlier, more law-abiding, decent people than not, and that is partly why her performance in Misery stands out all the more, was that it was the most compelling performance, I believe, that she's ever made, in which she played a character that the audience is led to fear and loathe and wish that she'll get what's coming to her at the end of the movie. So her ability to personify, embody these characters is something that I have great, great respect for. And it's something that, like I said, imagination is something that is vital to anyone who's doing any sort of performing arts, to be able to place yourself into a role and bring that character fully to life. So, that is all I'm going to say for this episode. It is a brief episode here, which should not be an inference on how talented Kathy Bates is, nor how long her film history is. So thank you, Kathy Bates, for bringing such power and drama and fascination to the screen over the years. In my next episode, I will be doing yet another influencer, and it is someone who is directly connected to Kathy Bates, and that will become clear what I mean when you watch the next episode. So, for now, this is Bernd Christian signing off. Thank you to all who watched, and Miss Bates, if you're watching, thank you for being born and for bringing your talent to the screen. Cheers.